Hi out there. Today we have a special guest. He's making his second appearance on the show. He's the COO at Suffolk Downs, and he's going to bring us up to speed. But before he does that, he's been a community volunteer for years and a community veteran. And by the way, welcome to the Revere Veterans Community, Chip, and thank you for coming.
Morris, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me back.
Right, and the reason we're having you back is to bring us up to date. So please, Chip, tell us what...
I'll tell you about our latest plans. I should first give your audience a little bit of an update on where we are in the process. Last time I was here, I think we made a little progress since then. We're finishing up our host community agreements with Revere and Boston, and then we'll have ballot questions after that. And then people get to vote, and then we can give our final, if we're successful, we can give our final application to the Massachusetts Gaming Commission sometime in November or December, and we'll know whether we're going to earn this license to develop this resort casino at Suffolk Downs that we're about to take people through the model, and we'll know that in the first quarter of next year. So I always get questions about the timing.
I got one for you.
Yeah, we got a little bit more time to go, but go ahead.
I got a question for you.
Sure.
The Gaming Commission, you're going to know something by December the 3rd.
Well, December is when we have to put in our final application.
Do we have to add in more money, if I may ask you, because you've already put in $400,000?
No, we're good. The money we've put in so far is
that's going to cover the whole thing
through the process. Yeah,
right.
But there's a lot of things happening. We're working on permitting. We're working on permitting the road improvements. We got a lot of balls in the air, and our racing season open on June 1st.
I know.
So there's a lot happening, but we're pretty excited about it.
Good. Now you're going to bring us up to speed today on
Sure.
what's been going on.
Yeah.
So, do we have any photos up there?
I think we have. Your crew came over to the track and shot this 3D model that we've created of our proposed development.
Oh, that's something new?
Yeah, and the model, we've brought it out into the community, into Revere, into East Boston. We had it at the track so people could come and see it. I think the model really helped people understand better what it is that we're proposing to build and how it fits on the property. The racetrack's been there for 78 years. Our property is 161 acres in Revere and East Boston, and it's about 3/4 in Boston and 1/4 in Revere. And I think it's, for people who haven't been there, it's hard to understand how big that is. And so we created this 3D model with our architects so that we could show people where the buildings would go, how they fit in the scale of the property, and things like that.
We're going to take a walk through the model, and you're going to bring us up to date on it because you know everything about it, so be my guest.
Oh, well, sure, Morris. I'm happy to do that. So the view we're looking at now is of the second hotel and a big courtyard, a big garden that would be between the parking garage that's on the right and the racetrack on the left. We are totally refurbishing the racetrack building, the clubhouse and the grandstand, preserving some of that for racing, turning a lot of it into gaming and restaurant space.
That's what it looks like now?
What it looks like now is a big empty parking lot, and what we're hoping is to convert that area into the main featured Caesars Hotel, which you see here. That's 300 rooms. About 9 stories high with suites all around the top. Yep. The second floor of that would be a luxury spa and a 25,000 square foot ballroom. All of the rooms, especially when you get up over the 4th floor, have a beautiful view of Revere Beach and the marsh and the water. That's really the big welcoming feature as people come in. People would visit off of Route 1A. They'd come in, and the first thing that they would, as they come down the drive, they'd get to this main Caesars Resort, which you continue down the drive here, and you'd be able to go into that parking garage there on the right.
Yep.
That's about a 2,400, 2,500 spaces. And you can see from the model, we're really doing a lot to landscape the property with our landscape architects from Sasaki and Associates. There's another look at the track here, at the racetrack building, the grandstand building, with the facade completely redone, completely reimagined, sort of back to its 1935 glory when it was originally built. You know, we have occupancy permits at the track for 38,000 people because it's a big place. And
they did a beautiful job,
yeah,
Chip.
Bigger than Fenway Park, but So, you know, we're looking forward to the days that we can attract that many visitors. So you can see some solar panels and solar arrays on top of the garage there. That's to help generate some power. We have a commitment to be the greenest casino in the United States. There's only one gaming development that's ever achieved LEED Gold status. We're trying to be the second to achieve LEED Gold status. That's a grade on how your buildings do in terms of their sustainability and sensitivity to the environment. We're adding some new areas as well, you know, we've got a lot to work with there. This view shows that little glass building between the racetrack and the second hotel is it's really sort of an atrium or a lingerie. It connects the old construction and the new. And the idea here, Morris, is to start everything all at once. You know, to start the refurbishment of the grandstand, to start the road improvements, start everything all at once so that we'd be ready to go and ready to open in a couple years.
That would create a lot of jobs.
It would. It would. All of the restaurants, we just took a look at one of the restaurants, all of the restaurants, 14 restaurants on the property. I think 10 or 11 out of the 14 are designed to open outside, so they're indoor, outdoor. It's really an outward-facing development. It's a little different than people's stereotypical view of gaming development.
What was that building behind the hotel, Chip, if I may ask you? That little white building that's standing straight up, so it seems to be a little high.
So there's the Caesars Hotel, right? And then this other hotel here is a second hotel, 150 rooms.
Wow.
And we're talking to different luxury boutique hoteliers about their interest in developing that with us. That's a pretty attractive parcel. We've got a lot of interest in that. And the same way that if you went down to Connecticut, there's the Foxwoods Hotel, and then there's MGM at Foxwoods. Different people like different experiences. So we could have had one hotel of 450 rooms, but we decided to do it a little differently, do 2 hotels. Now, you mentioned the jobs. I should talk about jobs and our commitment to local hiring. You know, we've got our agreement with Revere just about done. There's provisions in that agreement to make sure that Revere residents get a good crack at these jobs. It's the same thing for Boston as well. And one of the reasons we hope we're successful and we keep working hard on this is we're looking forward to being able to put some people to work.
Question for you, if I may, sir?
Sure.
Two questions.
Any questions are welcome.
Okay. Will the horse racing still be at the casino?
The horse racing stays. Not only does it stay, but we get a chance to really try to make it better, to try to enhance it, to add some money towards purses, to pay the horsemen and the horsewomen a little bit more, and to attract some stables that have left New England over the last 20 years or so and gone to other places where the purses in Pennsylvania, in West Virginia, in New York, in Maryland, in Delaware, where those purses are enhanced by gaming revenue at those facilities. We haven't been able to do that here in Massachusetts, but if we can, we think we can make the racing product better than it is now.
My second question, and I'm all for this, will veterans get preferences, if I may? You know, the military veterans.
So 2 things about that. We've got a commitment to hiring to a diverse workforce, an all-union workforce, and to hiring veterans, to hiring really people that fit the community, that you know, the communities of Revere and East Boston, where we have a lot of returning vets. We're partnering with Caesars on this development, and one of the reasons we partnered with Caesars is they have the best practices in many of these areas. They have a program called Heroes First, which is a veterans hiring program that they've been enacting at all their facilities around the country. They brought some of their veteran employees in here to Revere a couple of weeks ago. We had a nice event at the Revere
remember,
VFW.
I was there.
Yeah, and it was inspiring to hear from these guys who are some of our veterans. You know, have come back and been able to restart their careers in the gaming business. You know, one was a long-time employee of Caesars and a veteran security official. The other was a recently returning vet.
He was from the U.S. Constabulary, a Marine.
Yeah, and I thought he had a great story. He's working in valet parking right now, but he's trying to move into the information technology sector in IT, and Caesars has programs to help him move his career there and reimburse tuition and things like that. And Caesars has almost 70,000 employees around the country.
Wow.
And one of the things that they've figured out is it's better to take your good employees and help them, train them, move through the system, turn their jobs into careers, and it's one of the reasons we're looking forward to working with them here.
Now, Chip, this is a question coming strictly from me.
Sure.
Between East Boston and Revere, is the funds that coming out, is it going to be like split 50-50 or a percentage, like let's say they have more land, they get more, we get less, or is it going to be like almost equal?
So we don't know exactly what those numbers are yet. That's one of the things we're still talking about with the two cities. But there's a couple of different things. There's impact fees. So the host community agreements with Revere and East and with Boston will have community impact fees.
Excuse me. When you say Boston, that means East Boston would be part of the whole city of Boston?
Yeah, so our agreement is with the whole city of Boston.
Okay.
But the ballot question, the vote, would be East Boston only. So the neighborhood would get to decide.
Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, and so I think, so most of the properties in Boston, and a lot of the development is in Boston. So there are property taxes and other things that are going to be just on the Boston side of the property. There's not a lot we can do about the way the property was laid out 78 years ago in 1935.
Right.
But we have had really good discussions with Revere about making sure that Revere gets its fair share, that we address all the impacts with the city. And I think if you look at it proportionally, you know, how Revere will do based on what percentage of the land is in Revere, what percentage of the development is in Revere. Revere will be getting some revenue from activity that takes place on the Boston side.
I have another question for you.
But so if you look at it proportionally, I think Revere does very well. And then if you look at it, you know, compared how Revere will do if Suffolk Downs earns the license versus how Revere will do if somebody else earns the license, clearly Revere does much, much better if Suffolk Downs is successful.
Definitely.
Right.
I have this question. Where Serratani's used to be, or where Shaw's used to be, they're talking about building a hotel there.
Mm-hmm.
To get from there, because you're going to have the highway crossing, there'll be like an overpass to get, let's say, from that part of the hotel to Suffolk Downs with an overpass. But I was asked this by a person, what about the people that are disabled, for example? Would they have an elevator going up there so they can use the elevator to go over and come down, or have a ramp?
So there's a lot of different discussion about development that may or may not happen if we're successful in earning a license. Right. And I think that the Shaw's Serratani's parcel is a perfect example of that. There's been interest in putting a hotel there.
That's what I heard.
There's been interest in other types of development. I know Mayor Rizzo and John Festa, his economic development director, are very interested in that parcel. I know Mayor Rizzo, one of the reasons Mayor Rizzo has been supportive of what may happen at Suffolk Downs is because he thinks that there are additional economic development opportunities for Revere, and that's a perfect example. As to the specifics of that proposal and how they get people from one area to the other, I really don't know, but I could tell you we want to make it as convenient and as safe as possible for people to get to the property. Whether that's from the Beachmont T station or from by car or pedestrian or bicycle access, we've got plans for all that.
Right. Someone suggested to me to build like a tunnel, like a ramp going down underneath the highway, then coming back up. Well, we get flooded. I don't know if you're familiar with our area, but we get a lot of flooding over there. So maybe the only way to go would be over.
Yeah, well, I'm familiar with it because of the racetrack property and what happens in the barn area and the track property. You know, we have those two racetracks at Suffolk Downs, the main 1 mile dirt track and then the grass track that's about 7/8 of a mile, and they're pretty close to sea level. It's not too far down. So I clearly we understand some of the issues, and all of our plans that we're designing for the casino are there to address all of the graphical and ecological issues that come with the property.
Right. Are there any other pictures you would like to show us?
You know, I think your crew came out and they did a great job shooting the model. I'm happy to talk a little bit more about the development if you'd like. I mean, or
I'd
to
like it,
answer
and the
any
people would
questions.
like it, Chip.
Well, we are proposing to spend $1 billion, and that's you know, that's the commitment that our ownership and our partnership with Caesars has. So most of our development is actually taking place in what now are the big parking lots outside of the racetrack, and we're replacing some of that parking with structured parking. Now you'd be able to drive in Morris, and in this space you're seeing right here, that would be the main Caesars Hotel, sort of over where those trees are and other places. And you'd be able to drive in, go right to valet parking, and you'd be off to the races, as they say. This view of the parking lot right here, that would all be turned into a big grassy garden area. The two-story administration building that's been in the parking lot since 1935 will come down. It's not part of our development plan. And the idea is to really transform the property from what it is now into more of an urban oasis, so that, you know, people, as they turned into the property, they'd feel as if they were leaving their everyday lives behind and entering a place where they could relax, entertain themselves, and kind of get away for a little while. This is a similar view out towards one of the big parking lots, and that's an area that will be turned into the main hotel and casino space. And we're talking about 3,900 slot machines, 190 table games, and a World Series of poker room. Really, you know, the scope and the size is about half of the Connecticut casinos for your viewers who have been down to either of those places. That view is of the main entrance towards 1A, where the main Caesars Hotel would be built. The Suffolk Downs Clubhouse building will stay where it is, and we look forward to using the clubhouse for racing. Coming away from the clubhouse, that parking lot area, again, that's where most of the development will take place. One of the beauties of having 161 acres is we can pretty much do this development on 30 or 40 acres while creating 40 acres of open space for public use. So we're looking at creating pedestrian and bike paths through the property, at creating natural ecological gardens, and restoring some of the original ecology and some of the original plant life that was there in the 30s before all this was paved over. We're actually taking we're going to have fewer parking spaces, but more than enough for the development. But we're going to have less impervious space. We're gaining about 10 acres of pervious space, improving the natural drainage and things like that. So we're really looking at transforming our racetrack into a world-class entertainment and resort destination. Keeping the racetrack and the racing facility, improving the track is one of the big goals of this. There's a lot of people that work at the track right now that we'd like to keep working. We're looking to not only preserve racing, but to enhance it, to make the economic conditions better on the racing side as well. One of our big commitments is to improving local roads and infrastructure. We're looking at spending $40 million plus of our own money, private money, to fix local roads. The biggest part of that project is a flyover over Boardman Street at Route 1A. This is a model of that, what the flyover would look like, as it diverted the traffic north up and over Boardman Street to free up that intersection, which is a key choke point, especially in the morning and the afternoon. And that would make it easier for local traffic to get into the neighborhood, and traffic, cars that were visiting our resort, to get from the two tunnels and right to the front door. And we're on the third version of our traffic study right now. We started in 2008, updated in 2010. We're really finishing up all the road and infrastructure improvements, and we're in good conversations with the Massachusetts Department of Transportation on how we do this so that we could have the road construction coincide with our construction if we're fortunate enough to earn a license.
Right, Chip, you were talking about the hotel. Caesars investing $1 billion in Suffolk Downs for the roads, for the hotels. Can you tell us about how that's going to be done?
Well, sure. Our partnership, Suffolk Downs, Joe O'Donnell, Richard Fields, Caesars, our commitment is to invest over $1 billion to turn that racetrack into a world-class resort. And with all the amenities and the features that people would imagine, the Caesars has put the Caesars brand only, they manage 53 of these facilities around the world. They have 10 different brands. They have Caesars, they have Horseshoe, they have Harrah's, they have Rio, Paris, Planet Hollywood, but the Caesars is the very, very top tier of that brand. And,
I agree
we're
with you.
excited to bring that brand here to Boston, and so the quality of that hotel is going to be second to none, and it's really going to be a spectacular facility. So that's a big part of the investment, the hotels, the gaming areas, the restaurants, the transformation of the property. Another big part of the investment is local road and infrastructure improvements. We knew that in order to be successful here, we had to address some of the traffic issues. So the main areas that we're looking to invest are along Route 1A between the two tunnels and our front door, and then some investment in Revere, not only at Route 1 and 16, where we're looking at adding additional ramp connections to make it easier to get from 16 to Route 1 North and from Route 1 South to Route 16 East. But we've also talked to Mayor Rizzo about some improvements at some of the other hotspots in Revere, how we invest in the area around the Beachmont T Station, Brown Circle, Bell Circle a little bit, to do some things that will really try to make sure that that the people who want to visit our facility can get there safely and quickly, but to make sure that not a lot of people come to a resort casino during morning rush hour. So these improvements will benefit local residents at the times, all the different times of the day.
I got a question for you. I'm a sport fan,
Yeah.
and I love to watch boxing on TV.
Yeah.
And I see it coming from Caesars down in Las Vegas, from Foxwood. Are we going to have that in Revere too?
So one of the aspects of the development is a 25,000 square foot multi-use entertainment space.
Wow.
And it's a ballroom. You could do events like boxing there, all different types of events, and we can also do events outside. We're creating some areas outside. The big garden area between the parking garage and the racetrack building that we can tent for weddings and big events. We could use it as a small concert venue, things like that.
Hall?
So we're not building. We're building a little bit of meeting space, right, and things like that. But one of the differences in our approach is that we're trying to collaborate as much as possible. So Boston's got this big brand new convention center, right?
Heinz Auditorium?
Yeah, and well, the two, the Heinz and the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center in South Boston. And so it's sort of counterproductive for us to try to build something that would take business away from the convention center. Instead, what we hope to do is partner with the convention center, partner with different hotels and restaurants downtown, partner with some of the entertainment. We've got a partnership with the City Center, Wang City Center, the Schubert, the Colonial, so that visitors to our facility can have access to some of those places as well, and we can work together to bring more people to the area.
That's good.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's fantastic.
So, all right, well, thank you very much for having me again, Morris. It's always a pleasure to come over here.
Right, and by the way, I got to tell you, Chip, Suffolk Downs couldn't pick the better chief operating officer than you. They picked the best of the best, and I want to really thank you for coming and spending the time with us.
You've been a good friend and supporter, so
and may
thank
God
you.
bless you, Chip, and wish you all the best on your endeavor, and God bless our troops And
Yeah.
God bless the United States of America and our people. Thank you.
Thanks, Morris.